Welcome back. This is Victoria Wolders, your My Kids Locker COVID-19 podcast host. Well, this is a brand new day today, and today we have a new story, a new empathy tale called The Golden Key and the Ring. I hope that you enjoy this story and lesson, and we are now moving on to part 1 to listen to a mindful moment.
To part 1. Are you comfy? Are you cozy? Well, get ready to listen.
Well, here we are at part 1, and this is a great opportunity for you to be able to listen and to learn. So, we are going to spend some time today reflecting on a statement. Today's statement is, choose to be kind to others. When was the last time you were kind to someone? Did you maybe pick up some garbage off the ground? Did you maybe help someone clean up? When was the last time someone was kind to you? Maybe someone served you breakfast. Maybe someone provided a house for you or a bed to sleep in. There are many different ways people can be kind to each other. And I challenge you today to be kind to other people. Choose to look at the kindness in people and choose to be kind to them. Well, we are now going to move on to part 2, which is the create piece, and we'll get to learn more about our story.
Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 today. We are going to create something amazing, and let's get crafty. Bye.
Welcome to part 1. We get to create. And our focus today is going to be on layout. So you get to build and design something today. Well, the story today is The Golden Key and the Ring. And this story is about a poor boy who lives with his grandfather and is given 2 precious gifts on his 10th birthday. How will the 2 gifts change his life? Learn how greed can bring disconnection, yet kindness can heal the hurting. Well, today's activity is I'm going to ask you to build the 2 gifts he is given. So you'll have to listen to the story. I'm not going to give any hints, and it's a great opportunity for you to be able to draw, design, and build something today. I hope that you enjoy today's lesson. We are now going to tell the story.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the land of the Oak and Eagle Kingdom, there lived a boy who lived with his grandfather in the land of the Northern Eagles. His name was Mountain, and his grandfather's name was Econ. Mountain was about 9 years old, and unfortunately, his parents had passed away when he was little. His grandfather, Econ, would tell him about the wonderful stories of his mother and father. They were adventurers, and they were good, kind, and caring people. Yet, they had passed away because of sickness, and unfortunately left the boy Mountain to the grandfather. The one thing that they left for him was a wooden box. The wooden box contained something special in it. Econ, the grandfather, said to the boy, "I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to give this box to you until your 10th birthday." The boy would plead with him, "Please, grandfather, I would like to see what's in the box. It was from my mother and father. I want to see it." The grandfather was very kind and gentle. "Grandson, you need to be patient. You are my grandson and I love you, but you need to be patient and control yourself. You need to wait patiently for your 10th birthday." Soon enough, it was his 10th birthday, and the grandfather was very excited for his grandson, and they had a celebration. As the sun was setting, Mountain came to Econ. Is it time for me to open my box? Yes, it is. So he pulled out this wooden box. The wooden box had a beautiful oak tree and an eagle carved onto the top of the box. It is now yours, and you can open it. As the grandson opened it, he saw a beautiful golden key, and next to the golden key was a ring. Econ leaned over. The key is from your father, and the ring is from your mother. Wow, this is amazing. What does the key do? Well, the instructions on the key say you should pick up the key and look at it very carefully, as there are carvings, very small, on the end of the golden key. The carvings stated that the owner must go to the oak tree behind our home. The owner then must put this key into the keyhole at the bottom of the trunk. There will be a treasure you will find. Econ and Mountain ran out to the back of their home to find a majestic northern eagle sitting in the arms of their beautiful oak tree. There was a keyhole in the oak tree. Just before Mountain was to turn the key in the keyhole, the elderly grandfather held his hand. I want to remind you that your father and your mother were very kind and gentle people. They are giving you this as a gift, and you need to remember to always use this gift for good. The grandson was excited, and in his eagerness, he took it and pushed it in. As he turned the key in the keyhole, the bark turned to gold, then the roots, then the trunk, and then the branches. Finally, the leaves on the tree turned gold. He reached up and plucked out one of the golden leaves, and he gave it to his grandfather. Grandfather, we are going to be rich. Well, remember that you may be rich in the world, yet you have to always remember to be rich in your heart with compassion, love, and care. The boy, who was excited, looked at his grandfather. We've got to go to the village. We've got to sell these leaves, and we can move out of our cottage. We will move into a big castle, and we will be wealthy forever. You don't need to worry about money anymore. Econ spoke gently. Mountain, I need to remind you that there's one more thing in the box. The boy said, Oh, what is it? Econ picked up the ring. It's a ring. The grandfather looked over to his young grandson. This ring will come in handy one day. It will help you. The boy was so enamored with the golden tree that he picked up the leaves the next morning. He had a bucket full of leaves, and he went into town. The people in the village wanted to buy the precious gold leaves, so the boy would sell them. Then he would return back to the golden tree and take more leaves, and then go back to the village and sell more. In time, Mountain was cutting down the branches because he had sold all of his golden leaves. With the golden tree leafless and branches missing, Mountain went to Econ and shared that they would be moving to a big castle because of all the money Mountain made from the selling of the parts of the golden tree. The grandfather smiled carefully. I do not wish to move to a castle yet, and grandson, you are only allowed to buy a castle at 18 years of age, so you will need to wait until that time. The day Mountain turned 18 was the day that he moved into a beautiful, large castle at the end of the land of the northern eagles. He called it Majestic Mountain Castle because of all his wealth. He took all the money that he had from the small cottage. He plucked what was left from the golden tree over the 8 years, and he ran away with his gold and chose to live alone in the Majestic Mountain Castle. He lived there for a couple of years. Well, on his 20th birthday, he fell in love with a princess, and he knew he was going to marry her. Within a couple of years, he had not spoken to his grandfather, Ekin, in a long time. He was so involved with his money, his castle, that he had forgotten about the ring in the box that was in his grandfather's home. He proposed to the princess, and he knew that he wanted to get married by the golden oak tree, which was now barren and unhealthy. He told his wife-to-be that they would be married by an old oak tree. She responded, "Oh, what's that?" He explained how he became rich because of the magic key. The grandson had turned prideful, though. His unwise decisions and his arrogance made him forget about his grandfather, Ekin. They decided to go down into the cottage, and he knocked on the door. The grandfather opened the door, and the grandfather was happy to see his grandson and his fiancée. He loved his grandson, and he had missed him. The weak, elderly man hugged Mountain. "I missed you." Mountain did not have many feelings left for his grandfather. He just knew that he wanted to get married by the golden tree. "I would love to have you married under the golden tree. However, you can only see a little bit of gold left. It's dying." The man said, "I'm going to try to get as much gold as I can before it dies." He walked to the back and saw the old tree. The leaves were all gone, and most of the branches had been cut down. It laid there, weary, tired, and weak. It was a poor vision of what it was originally. And the bark now was flaking off because of its unhealthy state. The last time it was touched was the last day you left this home, said the grandfather. Mountain's heart was hard, and he was disappointed the golden tree was not as big as before. However, he still chose to be married under the tree. "On my wedding day, I will touch this tree once again, and I hope it will bring me more riches in the future." The grandfather, looking on to his grandson, bowed his head in sadness. Well, months passed, and on the wedding day, the beautiful bride was ready, and the grandfather reminded Mountain of his box, which should be present at the ceremony. The grandson remembered that the box had the ring. "This ring would be perfect for my new wife." So he took the ring out of the box. The ceremony progressed. The bride and the groom were standing right by the tree, and as he leaned on the tree, he stated, "This tree has made me a wealthy man." Leaning on the tree, his hands started to turn to gold. Then his arms started to turn to gold, and his body started to turn to gold. At first, people just thought it may be the sunlight hitting his body in a different angle. But before you knew it, the man was turning to gold, and he was becoming part of the tree. It was almost like the tree had engulfed him, his arrogance and his pride. The grandson was almost all gold, and he knew he had the ring. Just as he was reaching out for the ring to give his bride to be the ring, he froze, and he completely turned into gold. The last thing that he was holding was the ring that his mother had given him, and he was going to give his bride. The bride took the ring, and she started crying. She could feel the sadness in her heart that the man she had married had made unwise decisions. His greed for gold had hardened his heart. Then she looked at the ring, and in it was inscribed some words. "Put me on, and I will soften the heart." She thought to herself, I think I need to put this ring on and put it on maybe my new husband's fingers instead of mine. As she put it on his finger, slowly, his gold flakes started to drop. It started to turn, and his skin became human again, and his body became normal. He was no longer gold, but he was a full man. He dropped to his knees and cried, "We know that we both need to live a life that is honoring to others, one that is giving, one that is kind, one that is empathetic and compassionate." As they stood up, the sun was just setting. The tree became gold again, with new golden branches and golden leaves. The grandfather was there, and he smiled. "Together, we will do this, and we will celebrate the gifts that your father and mother have left you. Forever we will remember the truth and the love that we found on this very day, that the riches from the tree are not the true riches of the heart, but the true riches of the heart is kindness, care, compassion, and empathy." The grandfather, the grandson, and his new wife stood at the tree, looking up at the beautiful branches, and they smiled, knowing that they had learned a very valuable lesson on care, kindness, and empathy. The end.
Hi everyone, it's time to innovate, part 3. Woo.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed the story. We're now moving on to part 3. Our focus this week is setting. Our focus is, what is the background? What is happening in the location? So when we think about setting, we also have to think about where the character is. Is the character in a huge castle with lots and lots of money? Is the character in a poor cave and has nothing around them? Think about setting today and think about our story. What were the settings? Where did the story take place? Now, today for our extension lesson, we are going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually do a math problem. Yes, a math problem. So, if you had to receive any gift, what would that be? Trip to Disneyland? A beautiful brand new bed? Maybe a new PlayStation? I don't know. You tell me. Then, with your parents' permission, you can do some research online to see how much that would cost. Okay, now for some challenges. If you were to get $5 for your allowance a week, how long would it take you to purchase what you want? I'll say that again. If you were to get $5 of allowance a week, how long would it take you to save up for what you want to buy? Okay, so now you have to go figure out the math, and you can put a pause on the podcast to figure that out. Next, if you had to give a gift to 3 people, so 3 separate gifts, what would those gifts be and how much would it cost you in total? So I'll repeat that again. If you had to give a gift to 3 people, so 3 separate gifts, what would they be and how much would they cost altogether? Once again, another math problem. Okay, if you want to put pause now, and then we're going to move on to our conclusion. Okay, we are going to conclude now. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today at My Kids Locker COVID-19 Ed Podcast. Here we are focusing on less screens, learning, creating, and innovating. Feel free to reach out to me and hashtag My Kids Locker, hashtag COVID-19 Ed for all your learning and your products that you're making. I'd love to see them. Until next time, boys and girls, continue to listen, create, and innovate. See you later.